The night waned, and I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and the arms and the legs. I then took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber, and deposited it all between the scantlings. I then replaced the boards so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot, whatever. I had been too wary for that. A tub had caught it all. Ha! When I had made an end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for I had nothing to fear. It's not like I had just killed a man. There entered 2 men who introduced themselves with perfect swag as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged at the police office, and they, the officers, had been called to search the premises. I smiled. For what I had to fear, I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent, probably lost somewhere underground in China. I took my visitors all over the house. I bade them search well. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed him his treasures, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my old seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was very much at ease. They sat, and while I answered cheerily, they chatted of familiar things. But not long. I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. But still they sat there and still chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it just wouldn't leave, until at length I found out that the noise was not with me. No doubt I now grew very pale, but I talked more fluently and with a squeaky voice. Yet the sound increased, and what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, a sound like a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, and yet the officers couldn't hear it. I talked more quickly, but the noise steadily increased. I went on in high-pitched and with violent gestures. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observations of the men. But the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore, I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting, and grated it upon the boards. But the noise arose over all and continually increased. It grew louder, 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 and still the man chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty Lord Jesus! No, they heard, they suspected, they knew, they were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think. But anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die, and now again, hark, louder, 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 louder.